Hello?
Darling, get the volleyball!
I'm going to be telling you a story today.
Do you fancy men, Mark Pendlebury?
Yes. Do it yourself in the company of a workmate, drill and tool.
What's up, Warren?
I'm horny.
Hello, and now for this week's weather. It's cold because Alison's just put a nice fact down my back.
Breaking news, Buddha's got a job.
With this week's special guest, Mark Pounce. Hi, Mark Pounce. The world's shortest memory you have. Okay.
Pop and have it in here. Right, okay. Next week I'll have a much better one, because I know what I'm doing.
This week, when thinking about who to sell, that's a lie. I don't... Who is Buddha's bomb? Batman. No, we haven't got Batman, because here at the podcast, we're cheap.
Number one, I found a good song. It's really good. I love the song. It's Love Is All Around by Wet Wet Wet.
Hi, welcome to Warren's Friends. I was stabbed. No, I'm not talking.
No, Steve has just died of a heart attack.
Darling, get the volleyball! Where are the chips? I would like to make a point here.
I'm that kind of guy you're married.
I'm married to you! Hello? Mrs. P? How is everyone here?
Hello? What's your name? What's your name? Where did you come from? I'm Mohammed.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Christmas Cooking with me, God. For how long that you're supposed to put it in? Depends how you want it cooked, really.
Michael, do a funny knock. Right. Thank you.
Glee, Deputy Dog, Rogue Traders, Betty and Sue, mildly obese males, Singing in the Synagogue, Paula Hits Back, Danger in Denmark, and all those classics we all know.
My Hannah back! It's so good! What's apple cheese? Available only in Lauren's tea shop.
It's Amy back. She's the best sucker in the world.
The Amy Back's amazing. It just sucks away all my problems. Warning, may contain nuts and small parts.
Hello, this week's art product, Crystal Glass.
Hey!
His name is Warren, and he's a friendly man who loves women.
And children.
This is Terry Katona, listening to SteveB's podcast of the week. See ya! Listen.
I'm Warren, and I listen to the podcast at 12 o'clock.
Hello there, and welcome to the very last Best of SteveB podcast. Today is the 7th of December 2012, and today marks two very special occasions for us. It is, of course, our 60th ever online podcast radio show, which marks at the same time our 5-year anniversary. So what better time to call it a day than on today, one special day. And for those people that are really brainy out there, it'll work out that there's about one show a month for 5 years, which I think is very much a great achievement for us, especially because we weren't the very best in the last couple of years. Anyway, welcome to our very last show. We are going to be having a lot of fun this week and going down memory lane. So what we've got to come for, you've got eulogies from myself, from Warren and from Mark. We're going to play to you some of the best features that we had on the show, and we are also going to take a look back through visual on your screens. You'll be able to have a look and watch as we go along. So I hope you're enjoying the pictures so far. At the end of this show, Mark has created a fantastic goodbye song for us, which will be available to download. I know, if you want it. Sad. But first of all, I want to get on to where we started off. On this day, 5 years ago, sat in some common room in the middle of St. Brian's School in Didcot, that a group of us came up with an idea that it would be great if we could have a way of communicating through the whole school to everyone. And we came up with this fantastic idea of a podcast. Now, being a little bit selfish, I named it after myself. And I realised why it really didn't take off. Now, I'm going to play you now. It's only a minute, but this is the first ever show that went out on air.
Hello and welcome to my first podcast. Right, this is only going to be about 20 seconds long just to see if it works. Pop an advert in here. Right, okay. Next week I'll have a much better one because I know what I'm doing. Alright, you download it now. Bye. Actually, no, I'll make it a bit longer. No, I thought I'd tell you what I'm going to put on next week. Next week we'll have Talk from the Common Room. I bet you're all excited about that. We'll have Talk from Monday Night Common Room Quiz. We'll have jingles, because I'm going to make some jingles in the week, plus a whole lot more for you to have a laugh at, and laughing at downloading this stupid podcast. So, have fun. Okay, bye now.
Yes, unbelievably, that was me 5 years ago, sounding rather one-sided, so only on the left-hand side, and like I had nasal flu. And do you know what? In 5 years, not a lot has changed, apart from you can hear me in stereo. So, listening to that back, I feel it's quite shocking. Now, our story begins way back the 5 years on mypodcast.com. Now, it was the world's worst internet radio station, but allowed us to upload whatever, whenever we liked. So we ended up on there. And we were on there for about 3 years, every show, until... bang! Credit crunch hit. Wall was closed. I lost my job. And mypodcast.com went down the drain. So we were searching for a home. And we ended up on YouTube, where we've done our latest shows. And they've been as successful as the first ones we ever did. So not very at all. Now, we're going to go have a eulogy now. Now, we're going to go... This is Mark Pendlebury. Let's start that again. Mark Pendlebury telling us what his favourite parts of the Best of SteveB were.
Hello, and it's Mark here. I've literally, must have been only 30 seconds ago, was sprung on me that I had to improvise a 2-minute monologue, and I can tell you that we are already 12 seconds of the way there. And I've been told to talk about my favourite parts of the show. It's quite hard to, because I've tried desperately to kind of erase it from my memory. I don't know whether it's just because it's been recently, but the shows with just the three of us have been really good. Well, the years we started off on Steve's phone, I believe, in the Didcot Sixth Form's common room, recording it, and I don't remember how long it was, but it probably wasn't very long, and Steve went away and edited it, and we probably got a total of no views of it, but we then persevered, and we went onto the camera. He used to wander around the Sixth Form common room, ramming it in people's faces, really getting in the way. And then I remember one of my favourite points was me racing Jamie Dawson around the common room, which there we had a race around the common room, and that happened for, it must have been about 3 weeks. We had people in the podcast racing around, and I believe I won that. I just remembered it was the non-celebrity celebrity lap. So yeah, I think that was probably my favourite part when we first started. And, well, yes, I will say goodbye and bye.
Thank you, Mark Pendlebury, there, for that fantastic eulogy, which I only found out the other day means something being read at your death, so it's rather inept for this show. Now, I'm going to come on to what one of my favourite moments was, and it's an audio piece from 2008, where we had links back then where someone would say, "Hi, my name is whatever, I listen to SteveB podcast, and at a time or a place." So, I put all them together with the backing track of This Morning, and it sounded a lot like this.
Hello, I'm
I'm Aaron Evans. No, I'm Buddha. I'm Han.
Hey, it's Claude.
Hi, I'm Dane.
Hiya, this is Terry.
Hi, it's Michael.
Hi, this is Nikki.
Hi, I'm Robin. I'm Warren.
And I listen to the SteveB podcast.
I listen to the podcast. I listen to the podcast. I listen to the SteveB podcast.
And I listen to the Best of SteveB podcast.
And I'm listening to the podcast.
Listening to SteveB's podcast.
Listen to the podcast.
And I listen to the Best of SteveB podcast.
I listen to SteveB podcast. And I listen to the podcast at
7:30 every morning.
every Friday at 9:52. Whenever I feel like. www.bestofstevb.mypodcast.com. It's easy to remember.
Every Tuesday evening at about 8:30.
At 5:59.
See ya.
3 in the morning.
At 8:45.
7:01. 12 o'clock.
I have to say that was one of my highlights for the show. I really did enjoy doing that. Not only did I make the show fantastic, but my fellow presenters I have to say a massive thank you to, and we've had some over the years. Not only have we had Mark and Warren, but our fantastic news team we had when we first started 5 years ago, Alice Parker and Nikki Clark, fantastic. Along with the sports team, we had Buddha, and we had Aaron Evans, and Chloe, and Mark Skane, and Lorna Bottomley, and Michael Pounce, and Josh Bayliss. It just seems to be one of the biggest teams for the amount of people that listen, and I thank every single one of them for making this show what it is. And not only did those people contribute in a voice, but they also contributed with their own features, which is going to bring me on to this audio piece which I've put together, which covers every single feature we've ever had on this show. Now, it adds up to about 32 different features, from Lover's Corner to Who Knows Warren, from Cars with Pendles to the news and sport. Now, I hope you enjoy this. It's a bit of a mishmash, but this will cover every single jingle we ever had.
Hello and welcome to the best of SteveB.
He's waving, smell them all, his lispy crystal ball.
Time to rate your Christmas tree. Only with SteveB.
Celebrities are time.
Thanks for listening this week. It's not been the best yet. This is the SteveB podcast.
SteveB, better than ever. One more trouble. Birthday corner. Whoosh whoosh, yesterday's weather. We burn.
Time for the weather with fabulous Nikki. Argos, Argos, Argos. Down in Middleton, and there's lots of things. Catalogues. And Goosey.
He's alcoholic, his name is Buddha. If you go down the block, you will definitely see Mark.
Never stop looking. Never stop looking for listeners. Looking out for listeners. Never stop looking for listeners. Looking out for listeners.
Time for the events with Warren.
It's the Hit 5 UK with Claude and Steve.
This is Lover's Corner with SteveB.
Hello.
Online.
One road travel with brilliant Nikki. This is the same jingle with a bit added in.
It's time for QVC Shopping Corner with
Warren knows somebody who knows somebody else. This is Captain Credit Crunch. Let's go down to Claude's Kitchen. This is Warren Burns Dollar Tree Shopping Corner. It's like QVC, but not the same.
Alice's word of the week.
The SteveB Hotline.
Warren knows the answers.
Dum.
This is the best of SteveB on my podcast. Time Vortex.
It's time to find out what would Warren do for you. What would he think and what would he do?
Beep, beep, yeah, out and about. On the move.
We have to say thank you for listening to this week's podcast. We are the best of SteveB, and we are back next week.
Now, I'm sure in that mishmash of jingles there, you were able to find the one that you remember, the one that you loved. Now, my favourite was, I have to admit, Who Knows Warren? And what would Warren do? Just purely because the jingles are amazing. Now, we're going to come on now to Warren's favourite best bits.
Hi, I'm Warren. As you probably well know, I've had the pleasure of really recording this podcast with, I got to say, some lifelong friends. It's been an absolute pleasure. I don't admit it a lot, you know, it's that sort of charade. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this for 5 years. You know, I'm a local lad. I was born here, so I spent most of my day. You know, we just basically, we chilled, didn't we? And we sort of relaxed. Sometimes you shot some b-ball, you know, sort of outside of school. But I remember sort of one day we got in trouble. But, you know, sort of after that, I guess this has always been like a big part of my life. I've always looked forward to the podcast. You know, Martin Luther King had his dream. Joseph had his golden fleece. Katie Price had syphilis. And, you know, I've had the podcast. And even though it was called The Best of SteveB, I kind of feel like we've all had our little parts to it. He's just the one that's been a selfish bastard and taken all the credit for it. But, you know, what can you do, friends, eh? What a royal pain in the arse. So I better sign off. It's thanks for me, and I will hand you over back to Steve, who will sign us out with, I hope, some dignity. You never know. He's probably going to make some smart anecdotes about the fact that I've said pleasure.
And we thank Warren there for his lovely eulogy to the Best of SteveB podcast, with some very sad music there, I have to admit. So that is the last you'll ever see or hear of Mr. Warren Byrne again. He's going to find himself a little closet to lock himself into. And it's also come to the very end of the show, in which I'm going to say a massive thank you to everyone who has ever tuned in, clicked, downloaded, watched, or somehow tapped it into their brain, listened on someone's iPod, listened in their cars, on the bus, at school. I have to say a massive thank you, because this is what I did this show for. I did it to entertain the nation on the world's worst radio station, and that rhymes. And it became something that I absolutely adored doing, week in, week out, being here with my favourite friends, best team in the world, presenting some of the funniest stuff I've ever done in my life. And without the listeners that we had, it wouldn't have been what it is today. Now, a special thanks to, obviously, all the hundreds and hundreds of people that have helped us along the way. From my presenters, a special shout-out, Amy Brandt and Michael Pounce, both presenting great bits of music for the show, great jingles. We even used the Vibe to record some special podcasts in which we owe money to, so the podcast is more in debt than it should be. But that really much covers all I can say. It's been really emotional, and it's been a great roller coaster of emotions for me. Oh, it's epic, isn't it? But it is finally time for me to say goodbye. Now I'm going to leave you with Mark's fantastic song that he has created to say goodbye to the SteveB podcast. Now, it's going to be playing some lovely photos and some videos in the background. So if you're only listening to me whilst, you know, playing on your computer with other things, turn back to YouTube, come and watch the screen, because we're going to have some fantastic, amazing photos from the last 5 years. And finally, from me, it is one last massive thank you, and it's goodbye from the Best of SteveB.